Hello, friends. Always good to see you again. Now, there's something that I would like to talk about, and I'm sorry if I'm talking a bit fast. I usually do a lot of shorts and a lot of reels, and they just go by quick. Um, so, what I wanted to address was the Old Testament, the New Testament, those who follow strictly the Old Testament, and those who follow strictly the New Testament. Now, there is a misconception that people who follow strictly the New Testament are Christians. But I'm here to tell you that that's not the case. Now, people who follow strictly the Old Testament, we call them, Jews. And people that follow strictly the New Testament, we call them Christians. Now, let me break something down for you. All throughout the Bible, Jesus was somebody who taught God's words from the time he was very little, from the time he was like 12. He was teaching the Pharisees. Jesus was teaching people who were supposed to know everything about God's word. He was teaching them, and they listened with amazement. Jesus is somebody who followed his Abba's words to the fullest. I don't understand where people get the misconception that Jesus was somebody who's just like, I am not the Old Testament. That is not for me. I am changing all of that. The Old Testament, the stuff that I said myself that I've come to not do away with. That stuff that I had commanded everybody to, the law. Oh yeah, I commanded them to do that. But I am going to do away with all that. Like, people look at Jesus like he was like, in a sense he was, but that wasn't his whole identity. People look at him like he was just some rebel who's just like, I'm not doing with what God says. And that's the thing. If you think that he has come to transform all of that and just like do away with everything, what about Satan? Satan was somebody who went against God's will completely, and he got kicked out of heaven and damned to hell for it. So what makes you think for a second that Jesus just came on the scene and was like, yeah, we're just gonna wipe away all of that. Yeah, I want nothing to do with that. That is not the case, dear friends. That is not the case, beloved. Jesus came to reinforce, and that's what he says. I know a lot of people misunderstand this part. When he says he's come to fulfill the law, he says that he means that he came to enforce it. He did not say he came to do away with the law. That is the biggest misconception. And I just want to tell you that is not something that he has come to do. He came to enforce the law. And again, when you sit here and say that Jesus was this ultimate rebel who didn't care about what his father said or wasn't interested in keeping any of his father's law, that is not correct. And you're basically calling him Satan. You're saying that you're saying that, I wouldn't say that you're saying that he's Satan. I'm saying that you're saying that he is of the likeness of Satan, that he just came to shake up heaven and just, I'm ignoring everything my father says. And keep in mind, the Old Testament is a testament of God. The Old Testament is the testament of his father. So the Lord's word will always be there. The Lord's words will always be there, and that includes Jesus, because they're Jesus's words as well. So he will never contradict himself. And I know a lot of people have trouble with this. The way you deconstruct the New Testament is by looking at the Old Testament. That's why you cannot read, I would say, you cannot read the New Testament without first reading the Old Testament. And once you have a grasp on the Old Testament, then you can go and read the New Testament. And in history, I wouldn't say in history, but beyond what they could do in Jesus's time, Jesus comes with the knowledge and the other. I wouldn't say Jesus comes with it because he knows everything, but people in the Bible the Gospels comes with an understanding that you know the Old Testament. It comes from an Old Testament point of view. If you are ever unclear on anything the Bible is saying, look at the Old Testament and then come back to the New Testament, and then you will understand it clearly. If you think that Paul is saying, for example, not to eat pork, go back to the Old Testament and see what the Old Testament says about the food laws. And once you do that, you can understand it from the point of view that it was meant to be understood by. I know that in one of the verses, it says that, let no one judge you on what you drink, what you eat, the holidays you keep, the Shabbat, all of that. And he wasn't saying, listen, you don't have to follow any of that Old Testament malarkey. You don't let anybody judge you if they did. But that's not what he's saying at all. He's saying, listen, you're in Rome, because that's where they were. I know that it's a little weird to follow, Jewish tradition in Rome, but hey, listen, do not let those Romans judge you on keeping the Sabbath. Don't let them judge you on avoiding certain foods. Whatever you eat and drink, don't let that be, don't be convinced by them. Know that you are doing the work of the Lord. Know that you are following God's law. So don't let them judge you. Keeping Shabbat, doing any of the Jewish holidays, don't let it get to you. Don't let them judge you on it. He was not saying, listen, you don't have to do any of that. That's not what he was saying. He was saying, they're going to judge you, but don't let them judge you. And that's a verse that us Messianic Jews we should hold that to our heart. Because you see a lot, even the Christians, Christians, they would say, oh, you don't have to do that. Why are you celebrating Shabbat? Why are you celebrating this Jewish holiday? We should hold that to our heart. Paul said, don't let anybody judge us. Don't let anybody judge you on this. You're following God's law. Don't let anybody judge you on this. And that's something that we should really hold up. That's one of our proofs, I would say. If I'm explaining it right, it's one of our proofs. It's something that really, what's the word? It's something that really validates us, I would say. I wouldn't say something as strong as validating, because there are tons of things that validate us. But it's one of the things that really that make us, that proves us. So yeah, I would say it's pretty impossible, and I would say don't even do it. Read the Old Testament first, and then go back and read the New Testament. Once you have a solid understanding of the Old Testament, then let's dig into the New Testament, because there are going to be some stuff that you're going to have some questions on, obviously. So to understand that, you're going to have to have some Old Testament understandings. And even when I was young and in church, my pastor said, that's just Old Testament stuff. And this is another thing that really bugs me so much. It's like there's an unwritten rule that you shouldn't use the Old Testament unless it's used to win an argument. And I don't agree with homosexuality in the slightest. I love homosexuals, but I hate the sin of homosexuality. You're supposed to love the person, hate the sin. I love those who who are homosexuals, but I hate the sin of homosexuality. But be that as it may, they have a point. They'll say, oh, you're cherry picking. The Old Testament says a whole slew of things that you shouldn't be doing, but yet here you are doing them. Why are you cherry picking? And our response should not be, oh, why are you calling me? Your response should be, you're right. Let me take a look at that and apply it to my life. And that is part of getting the speck out of your eyes. How are you going to call somebody else out on their sin when you're breaking the law? You're breaking the Old Testament law. You're calling somebody else out on their sin. And they say you're cherry picking. What about the Old Testament? Get the speck out of your own eye, then you can see clearly to judge them on their sin. And that's another thing. You should be judging people. There is a whole, I'm going to be doing another thing on this, but there's a whole, number one, there's a whole book called Judges. The book of Judges. And Paul's letter to the church telling them that, hey, listen, you should most definitely be correcting your members of the church. He said, listen, the people who are not followers of Christ, I have nothing to do with them. God is their judge. But for the people who claim to be a brother and sister in Christ, we need to correct them. We need to sweep out the garbage. We cannot have people polluting the church. And that's something that a lot of people need to realize as well. Like, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, brother, you are a demon. I'm not saying that. You should call them out lovingly. Lovingly. Remember, love is patient. Love is kind. Call them out lovingly. And if you ever need to know, and that's another thing, read the Bible. It tells you how to love. So if you ever need to know how to do something lovingly, read the Bible. Read about love. 1 Corinthians, read about love, the ways of love. Lovingly call them out on their sin. And don't do it in front of others. Don't stand up in the middle of the congregation being like, you sinner. Like, no, you say, hey, come over here. Do you mind if we talk about something that I've noticed? I'm so sorry, but I'm sorry if I'm coming off as a little out there, but I've noticed something that you were doing. You see, in the Bible, it tells us that we shouldn't be doing this, and I see you're over here doing it, and I just wanted to get a little bit of clarification and to see where you're at and help you through it. So I believe this is something that we can work on together, and it doesn't need to be a public thing, but I feel like this is something that me and you can work together on our lives, and if need be, you need to take it to the pastor. So yeah, of course, if it's something major, then and something has to be done, that's an entirely different scenario. But you should be calling them out lovingly. And I know there are lots of channels on YouTube who will get up there and be like, you stupid idiot. And I get it. Some people are like, oh, well, didn't Paul call somebody a dunderhead dummy? Paul said to emasculate yourself, which means to cut off your male genitalia. However, we're called to be like Christ-like, not Paul-like. We're called to be Christ-like. And I'm not saying that Paul, I know this is some of you are like, whoa, You just say Paul wasn't a godly man. No, he was an extremely godly man, and somebody you should absolutely be listening to. I know there's another thing that's like people like Paul haters, like, don't read that verse to me. It was written by Paul. I don't read anything written by Paul, and you cannot convince me otherwise. If it was written by Paul, I don't want to hear it. Even though the Bible clearly says that the whole Bible is good for teaching and instruction, never mind that. But they just don't want to listen to anything that was written by Paul, Luke, or John. I don't understand it. But I'm not saying that, oh, Paul is suddenly invalid now and you shouldn't be listening to Paul and Paul wasn't a godly man. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying we're called to be Christ-like, and you should correct members of your church. Something you should be doing. Call them out lovingly, but call them out, bring them aside and call them out if you see something that's like, whoa, brother, can we work on this? You need to go to the pastor. You need to talk to the pastor. Like, oh, we can help you. And that's the thing. It's having the heart, a good enough heart to call them out. Say, hey, it hurts me that this is plaguing you. This sin is plaguing you, and it hurts me. And genuinely care enough about the person to call them out. I know that some people look at it, they're like, oh, you're calling people out, you're being, and they think that's dishonorable. When no, that's the most loving thing that you can do, because if you didn't care about somebody, think about it. If there's somebody that you don't care about, would you take the time, effort, and determination to sit down with them and tell them everything that they're doing wrong? Let me rephrase that. Would you sit there and tell them everything that they're doing wrong in order to fix it? No, you wouldn't. If you truly didn't care about somebody and didn't care about them destroying their life, or about them digging themselves a grave, like if you truly didn't care about them, you would be like, well, that's no concern of mine. Let them do whatever they want. Let them party. Let them destroy their lives. I don't really care. But if you really care about somebody, you're gonna be like, whoa, buddy, you should not be doing that. You're really going to hurt yourself. And you say that out of love. You don't say that out of hate. You don't say that out of I'm calling you out to call you out. You're saying that because you genuinely love and care about the person. And that's where the cotton candy gospel loses, because they don't love. They claim to love, but it's a false, fake love. Just like how the LGBT is like, oh yeah, we just want to love. They're not loving. That is not love. That is not how the Bible calls us to love. Same with them. That is not how the Bible calls us to love. You are loving somebody when you call them out on their sin, because it is hurting them. Sin does nothing but bring demons and hurt you and your life and your family and those around you. So whenever you descend into sin, it's serious. Sin is very, very serious. Sin is so serious, and that's something that a lot of people need to understand in general. Sin is so serious. But what I was saying was the Old Testament. You cannot have the Old Testament, or you cannot have the New Testament without the Old Testament. You'll be confused, because the New Testament is the continuation of the Old Testament. You should not be looking at it as this whole separate thing. The New Testament is the continuation of the Old Testament. New Testament is a continuation of the Old. That's why it's in the same book. It's in the same book. It's the Bible. The New Testament is just continuing. So you should be looking, when you read the Bible, you don't read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and just like read the Gospels. You read the whole thing. They put it in one big book for one big reason, to let you know that it's continuing. This is a continuing story. So, yeah, you cannot look at the new without the old. So, yeah. And I want to say this. I do counseling, Christian counselor, and you can go to www.thecalvertpsalms.com and receive Christian counseling from me or the other people that we have on staff. So I really look forward to talking to you. So